What if the one leadership trait that everybody celebrates is actually holding some teams back? Today, we're going to dig into the hidden rules that drive leadership and show you why the right way to lead, well, it's not universal. It's personal, and believe it or not, it's pretty predictable. So let's just kick things off with a question that might sound a little crazy in today's business world. Is empathy always a good thing for a leader? I mean, we're all taught that it's the ultimate superpower, right? But what if, for some really high-achieving, goal-oriented teams, it's actually seen as a weakness? The data suggests things are way more complicated than we think. See, the real answer to that question depends entirely on this hidden framework that quietly shapes how we see everything, our underlying value system. It's why what one person sees as absolutely essential, another person sees as a complete and total waste of time. Now, the framework we use to understand this is called spiral dynamics. Think of it as a map of how human values evolve over time. It shows us that people and even whole cultures operate from these different core worldviews, or vMEMEs, and each one has its own color code. It's kind of like an operating system for your mind, and what runs perfectly on what OS might cause a total system crash on another. This is so key to understanding why one leadership style can be totally inspiring to one group and fall completely flat with another. Okay, so today we're going to zoom in on one specific value system that pretty much dominates the modern business world, the orange vMEME. This is a worldview that is built on a foundation of strategy, ambition, and just a relentless, non-stop drive for results. Folks who are operating from this orange vMEME are just wired for progress and success. They look at the world and see a field of opportunities where the best strategy always wins. For them, leadership isn't about being popular, it's about being effective, period. So how does this actually show up in the real world? Well, we looked at data from over 3,000 people across 98 countries. And when we started to correlate a strong orange value system with what people thought were important leadership traits, this number popped out, a positive correlation of 0.1001. Now, I know that might not sound like a huge number, but in this kind of analysis, trust me, that's significant. So what's the trait they value so much? That number means the more someone's worldview is driven by those orange values, the more likely they are to say that being an effective negotiator is an absolutely critical leadership skill. For an orange mindset, negotiation isn't just talking, it's a strategic weapon you use to get an advantage and drive the outcome you want. Okay, so for the orange mindset, strategic negotiation is king. Got it. But what happens when we ask that same exact group about another famous leadership quality, one that a lot of people would say is even more important? Well, the data doesn't just shift a little, it swings violently in the complete opposite direction. Just look at this number, negative 0.1869. This means the more someone identifies with those orange values, the less they think empathy is a critical leadership trait. In fact, this is the single strongest negative correlation for empathy we found across all the value systems we looked at. The orange worldview doesn't just kind of ignore empathy, it actively pushes it away. And this right here is the whole insight. For the orange mindset, empathy isn't just some soft skill. It's seen as a potential bug in the system. It's a distraction from the main goal. It's an inefficiency that just slows down progress and gets in the way of a culture built on pure objective results. So what does this strategic, results-first kind of negotiation actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's check out a few real-world examples that just perfectly capture this orange mindset. Take a guy like developer Eli Broad. His philosophy just nails that positive correlation we saw. For him, negotiation was never about compromise. It was about creating brand new value. It's a totally strategic move, outthinking the person across the table to engineer a win that serves your goals. Or for an entrepreneur like Victor Kam, it was all about leverage. If you have better information, you have a competitive edge. That lets you control the conversation and ultimately control the outcome. And of course, this famous piece of advice from The Art of the Deal really just boils the whole orange approach down to its core. Think big, use your leverage. Negotiation is a competitive sport. The goal isn't just to find common ground. It's to use every single bit of leverage you have to maximize your advantage and come out on top. But here's the thing. This competitive, results-driven approach is just one color in a whole spectrum. The moment we start moving across the different value systems, the very idea of what negotiation is transforms completely. And this table, this is where it all just clicks into place. For the power-driven red worldview, negotiation is about pure dominance, force. For the orderly blue worldview, it's about being fair and following the rules. We just saw how orange treats it like a strategic game. And then for the community-focused green worldview, negotiation is all about empathy, getting consensus, and making sure everyone feels heard. There is no single right way to do it. There's only the way that makes sense for your operating system. And this isn't just some cool theory, It has some really powerful real-world uses. By getting a handle on these deep value correlations, we can build much, much smarter predictive models. Instead of just guessing, we can start to actually forecast, with pretty good accuracy, how a specific team, like one with a strong orange culture, is going to react to what a leader does. It's about getting past the fluffy personality quizzes and down to what really drives a group's behavior. So what is the big takeaway here? Why does understanding all these different value systems matter to anyone who's actually trying to lead people today? This is why it matters. Because without this framework, we get completely lost in translation. A leader who's coming from a green, consensus-driven place says, we need more empathy. And what they mean is, let's build a stronger, more connected team. But the orange-minded team member hears, great, get ready for progress to grind to a halt because we have to talk about our feelings. What one worldview sees as a foundational strength, another sees as a critical system failure. So at the end of the day, the takeaway is this. Effective leadership is not about finding some magic one-size-fits-all formula. It's about being a chameleon. The best leaders can actually diagnose the dominant value system of their team and then adapt their style to match it. They get that the decisiveness an orange team loves might feel like tyranny to a green team, and the empathy a green team needs might feel like a total waste of time to an orange team. And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Is your organization's definition of good leadership actually designed for the people and the challenges you have right now? Or is it based on some ideal that just doesn't fit your reality? The answer to that, well, it might just change everything.